This is by the guy who did the Kid President videos, if you remember those. And it's really encouraging you to be a better grown up and talks about the interviews that he did with children about what grown ups are like. And it was very entertaining. There are some parts that really had me laughing out loud. So it was a lot of fun, even though the sketches and illustrations aren't super detailed or profound. They're more that childlike, playful, cartoonish illustration, but I love it. It still makes me happy and it made me feel better where it's like, okay, my illustrations don't have to take hours and hours. It can just be something cute and fun, and it still adds beauty and joy to the world. I believe these authors are from the Netherlands, and they have a bunch of different illustrators and people who wrote these articles. And it's kind of about simplifying life, which I love. But just look at these gorgeous illustrations. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and they even have like fun little things that you can pull out and read. And let's see what else. Like, what is this one? Yeah, you can fold this up and make it into a tiny house. Like, just so much cute stuff. They have pages for journaling, and it's just really adorable. They used to do a magazine, I believe, and I'm sad that it's not in print anymore because I would totally subscribe. And just cute fonts. But also, the thing about all of these books is they have actual good written content as well. Like, they're fun to read, but they also just are so beautiful and really well laid out and thought out, and inspiring for just being artistic and adding art to things that we don't always add art to, like books for adults. Who knows? Okay. This one is fascinating. This one I've had the longest, and both of these I bought used, but this is, I think it's more like this is more like an essay by Winston Churchill in the front, but this is a picture of him painting. So the first sections are the essay by him, and then it has some of the paintings that he's done. So it was really interesting. I was like underlining and everything. And it really just talks about how when you're busy, taking the time to paint and use your brain for something besides all the things all the responsibilities that you have is really helpful. So these aren't like crazy stunning works to me. It's just places I think that he traveled and painted, and it's pretty neat to see that. Oh, I love this one. I love that color, and then the plants and the shape. Oh, so that one's probably my favorite one. Oh, that one's cool too. But anyway, this was just really inspiring to think about someone who had such an impact on history and still prioritized art and painting in his personal life just for fun. And I will link to all of these, of course, in the description. This one I heard about in my Reader's Digest. So I love having that magazine, even though it's like geared towards older people. But I've loved it since I was a child, and my aunt had it, and I would read all the funny things. Which also, speaking of Reader's Digest, they do have some cute illustrations as well. And same for the Magnolia Journal that I also subscribe to. Sometimes I will pull some of the illustrations out, and actually, because they both mention illustrator, like who the illustrator is, sometimes I will find new illustrators when I I'm flipping through. Of course I can't find it on here. Maybe I tore it out. So this is from the Magnolia Journal. Oh, but it doesn't have, okay, winter 2020. So I don't know who the illustrator is because I tore this out and it's not on this page. But I do think I followed their Instagram. And let's see if this says who the illustrator is. Mary Long, maybe? Getty Images. Okay. So this is her journal basically, and she watches the birds just in her backyard and paints them, or not paints them, but draws them and colors them, and just really observes and talks about the different behaviors and when they come and what the names of each of them are. So it's really cool, really good gift for bird watchers also. It is $35 usually, but I did see it on sale for $22 on Amazon. That's when I got it, but it has gone back up and then back down, so I don't know. This one is probably my favorite. Carrie Hess is an artist that I found on Instagram, and she has a very just distinct and lovely style. She mostly does a lot of pink and but also some of the turquoise. And this is another one where she writes about like finding joy in your home or finding joy in just little things that make your heart sing. And oh my goodness, this book, I mean, like, oh, a bubble bath. It's like just so fun. And yeah, she does a lot of fashion illustrations and stuff, and like lived in Paris, I think, for a while, and I believe she is Australian though, and lives in Australia now, if I am correct. Oh, let me show you the back of this one. And I actually really like the cover even when you take this off. So cute. I might like that better, but I keep it covered because I am a little nervous. And so, I mean, I may have gotten this one used from Amazon, so it is coming apart, but I still love it, and I could probably just glue that back together. So now let me show you, this is kind of a bonus one, I guess. I really love Lydia Hill illustrations. I was going through where I was trying to just focus on like everyday adventures and just adventure in general, adding it to my life to not be so boring. And this has something adventurous in all 50 states. So it's kind of fun, but I don't use it as much as I thought, but it's just nice to look at. It's so pretty, and I think I was gonna get rid of it, but I changed my mind. Just so lovely. But I did kind of think, you know, maybe not worth the price, because I think it was kind of expensive, which, you know, a lot of these are, and understandably so. But if you are interested in that, also it's kind of like, oh, you want to see what the adventure is in each state, and then some of them you're like, oh, duh, I knew that, or other ones you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. So, or it's like, oh, I'm not near that state, so I'm not going to do that. But anyway, it is definitely an interesting one, so I thought I would share. It is, I guess it's one I don't really sit down and read, whereas the other ones I read cover to cover, or am in the process of reading them cover to cover. This one, it's more like, oh, flip through, maybe read a couple of little facts and put it back. And here's a bonus tip. If there's a book that you really like that is not illustrated, then you can just illustrate it yourself. So here are a few. I may do a video that goes more in depth on these illustrations, but I have a lot of, this is a book of poetry, but I have a lot of them that I want to illustrate. I think I'll end up doing probably 10 to 12. I first listed like 28 and then narrowed it down to 14, and I'm still kind of whittling it down. But this is an amazing book. So it's not illustrated, but for anyone who likes poetry, and really, I don't even read that much poetry. I like pretty much just him. If I see Billy Collins, then I will grab that book. And just from the start, it like gets your attention and really sets a mood. It's amazing. I highly recommend. I saw it in Barnes and Noble. I did not know he had a new one out, and so I definitely recommend this one. Man, I have a lot of illustrators that I love, and I did not realize how many. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of a project that I'm working on just for fun, kind of just for me, where these poems are just so vivid that I really just could see it in my head and was like, oh, I want to have a painting of that and have it as like a reminder of what the poem was about and what it means to me specifically. So that's been a lot of fun so far.